Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Black Girl Encourage Her. I am your host, Sheniqua Inspires, and we are here to bring it. We are here to bring forth the encouragement for everyone. We just so happen to do it from a Black girl's perspective. So, welcome to season 2, everyone. I hope that you have enjoyed the previous series. We did the Black Girl Motivate Her, we did the Black Girl Inspire Her, and now we are bringing it back and we are bringing forth the encouragement. And I've got another one on today. Now, I do want to just put out this statement that we are going to have a grown folks conversation today. So that's your warning. So if you got the kiddies in tow, just send them in the other room, give them some cookies, because we are going to have an enlightening conversation for adults. I am bringing on this expert, and she is going to help shed some light in some areas that might not get as much light. So let me bring my new sister friend to the stage, Cordelia. Hello, girl. Let's get you up here.
Hello,
Hey,
Sheniqua.
girl. Hey, how are you?
I am fabulous.
Listen, I had the opportunity to meet you in person, and we had a chance to break bread. We had dinner together, we dined, we chatted. So I feel like I know a little bit about you. Please introduce yourself to the audience.
Yeah, thank you for that. Thank you for having me on your platform. So, I am Cordelia Gaffar, the ultimate joy goddess, normalizing great sex. Yeah, I got to this place just from years of being married. I was married for 20 years and I had 6 children. And the one thing that I did not explore, yes, I mined within for my joy. I mined within to create sustainable practices of self nurturing and making sure that my cup was full and I was replenished for my children. Um, but I would say that the deeper connection that I could have had in my marriage through great sex, I didn't quite address that. And I'm
Mm,
grateful that through divorce, I finally decided, you know what, let me take care of that part. And so I have, as part of my sexual healing, enrolled in an authentic Tibetan Tantra program. And it will result in me not only having a certificate in that, but I'll also complete the program with my PhD in holistic sexual healing.
nice.
Hmm.
Nice. Very nice. And so when you say Tibetan, can you go a little bit deeper? Like, are you going to Tibet? Like, what does that look like? What does that entail?
I wish I was going to Tibet, girl, but no, I don't have to do all that. The traveling is within, it's a spiritual journey.
Okay.
So, the distinction, I'll say this, between the neo tantra that we see out there, right? And authentic Tibetan tantra is what I'm studying is lineage based. The institute is run by a black female,
Hmm.
and the lineage begins with the original black tantrika. She was a Tibetan monk, and she moved from Africa to Tibet um,
Wow.
17,000 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's the
Wow.
lineage that I am learning from.
Awesome. Awesome. And tell us a little bit about why that was important to you. So why did you decide to um it's because listen, it's enough to, Google search some things, even to read some books on some things, but why did you feel the need to seek a course, to get a degree? Like, why was that super important to you?
I like that you asked the question in that way because it's so often people think that they can read a couple of books, you
Hmm.
know, and that they can shift their whole being. And there's issues with that because reading comprehension is really not a skill that everyone has,
And it's
right?
very subjective. So
It
it's
is
very subjective.
absolutely. And I
Yeah.
wanted to make sure that I was healing. And so
Mm.
that requires being under the, what is the word I'm seeking here? That requires being,
Like the tutelage, like
I
sitting
was,
under
yeah,
instructors and
yeah, I had to be with experts, right?
yeah.
So her name is Debbie Ward Erickson. And she actually started her journey, I want to say about 20, is it 25 years ago? Something
Okay.
like this. And it was to create her sexual healing. So she began by being a Buddhist monk for 10 years. And
Hmm.
then after that, that's when she just happened upon this lineage based tantra while she was in Tibet. So see, she did that. So I don't have to go.
Yeah, yeah.
And so and then she's under still her lama. So like the Dalai Lama,
Okay.
there are lamas in our lineage. So she basically has developed this lineage based tantra, and she's being advised and guided on a regular basis. Like she meets with her lama monthly, right? And we get
Okay.
access to him too, I think about quarterly, to ask him questions directly. But that is a long answer. So let me just wrap it up really
Hmm.
concisely here. It was very important for me to completely be sure that my nervous system is reset and my physiology is reset, because I know
Hmm.
that your sexual health is the rest of the story for your total well-being. And I
Hmm.
and I know that I intend to have a partner again, but I didn't want to create it with the same nervous system and
Mm.
mental structure that I had been my whole life. So that's
Yes.
why it was super important for me. And I'm a little bit of an overachiever. Now I'm gonna make a joke out of it because, like, back in the day when I had 3 kids in travel soccer, I decided, let me get certified in sports nutrition so they don't pass out during, you know.
Listen, come on now.
So
Come
that's
on.
me.
Yes, yes, yes. So anything that you are going to be devoting your time to, you want to be the expert or have the wealth of knowledge. I can totally relate to that. So I want to shift gears just ever so slightly, and then it'll bring us, I'm sure it'll bring us back to where we're going to be. But I would like for you to have a discussion with my audience about the feminine energy. Like,
Mhm.
what kind of guidance can you give us or share with us about that?
Mm. So let me see which way to go with this.
Mhm.
The fact is, right, there's feminine and masculine energy in the world. When we are in trauma drive, like most black women are, right,
Come on.
we tend to be in our
Mhm.
masculine
There you go.
because we don't have choices.
Hmm.
However, for the calming of our hearts and the settling of our minds, we must soften. And that is
Yes.
the feminine energy. So when you come home, you can de-armor,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that is really what this authentic Tibetan tantra is about. It's about the de-armoring of our nervous system, but specifically our genitals, right? So,
Mm.
like the sexual organs are your lips, your eyes, your nose, your nipples,
Mm.
your fingers. Yeah, right. We didn't think that was part of sexual anatomy, but it is,
Right.
because it's all 5 senses involved. And then we get to, right, our vulva, our clitoris, and our hips, and our knees and our toes, and all the different meridians in our body. So the de-armoring of that comes through. Oh, I didn't mention this when you asked me who I am. I've written 8 books. So one of those books is called Detached Love: Transforming Your
Mm.
Heart so that you can transform your mind. And the last 2 chapters actually talk a little bit about this. This was like 3 years before I started this Tantra journey. And in there, I talk about how you can de-armor
Mm.
your genitalia. And so I just invite you to explore your body, touch yourself, right? And just like when I say touch yourself, I know our mind has been programmed to go ways that are not helpful for us. But when I say touch yourself, like just feel the back of your
Like your
hand
hand, yeah.
sometimes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Squeeze your joints in your fingers and, allow yourself to enjoy the sensation of your own skin.
Mm-hmm.
And that is feminine energy at its most subtle.
Yeah, yeah. I totally understand with your where you're coming from, and I don't want my audience clenching their pearls. It is about touch, and I can even attest to that as being a registered nurse, especially during COVID, right? During the pandemic, where we were isolated,
Yeah,
people were isolated from their loved ones, and it was like if you were not confined with that person, you were then absent of that touch. I remember even seeing pictures of, you know the elderly in nursing homes, and they weren't allowing any visitors to come in, so it was like there was like a picture where their family was out at the window looking in at
yeah,
grandma, and it's like the touch, like that's why people were that's one of the reasons. I'm not going to say that's the ultimate reason. That's one of the reasons why people didn't fare so well during that season, because they were lacking that touch.
yeah,
It's a touch of a hug, it's a touch of an embrace, it's even the touch of pressure, just feeling that pressure. And one of the things that I have become really, really cognizant about, that's why I asked you that question about feminine energy. I heard something somewhere where it talked about the masculine and the feminine energy, and a light bulb went off in my head. And you touched right on it when you were talking about the dynamic of the strong Black woman,
yeah,
right? We are sometimes single women, sometimes we are even married women, and we're still seen or have to rise up to be that strong Black woman. We have to be strong in the workplace, we have to be strong in our households. And it is a shame. It is a shame that many of us, and I can attest to it, this is my story, many of us, me, don't have that safe space as of yet to be able to de-armor, to be able to say, okay, let me, totally get into this feminine vibe, so that yes, your healing can take place. And another thing that I do want you to touch upon this for us. I was hearing that feminine energy is creativity.
yeah,
So if here I am, and I'm going to talk about me, you guys. Here I am, this strong woman. I'm strong in the corporate, I'm, asserting my, authority, my dominance. I'm teaching, I'm training, I'm being seen as the expert. And then I come home, I have to dominate the children, make sure everything gets done. And, the household is taken care of. I'm holding all of that on these shoulders. And then I'm building a business, and I'm trying to be everything for my clients and helping them to build and grow and all
mm,
of this. I need to be creative.
yeah,
And I have to say I have been creative, but I'm coming from a creativity, a place of force. Like it's a forced
hmm,
creative flow. And when I started to read up and started to see more about that feminine energy, I was like, whoa. So you mean to tell me all I gotta do is shift from being so dominant and masculine, and then the creativity is gonna flow? So talk to us a little bit more
yeah,
about this conversation about us women. Talk to us women for a moment.
yeah. There's a little bit. There's a bridge between those two things, right?
Mhm.
So I'm gonna begin here. Devi says, "Free your hips, and your mind will follow."
Mm,
Right? So in Tantra, there's like five movements, five core movements with your hips. And interestingly enough, for Black women, it shouldn't be too much of a ramp up. We, already do the circles, the figure eight, and all those things, right? In different types of, I would say, traditional ethnic dances, right?
Mm.
And so when I'm listening to you and you're talking about you got to come home and make sure that the kids are doing the thing. Girl, I got 6 kids, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
here,
Multiply
yeah,
it.
I do it different. I do a little
Yeah.
bit different. So I'm gonna talk to you like the kind of mom I am.
Mm-hmm.
My 2 boys live with their dad now, but my 4 daughters live with me,
Mm.
and I don't. Um, I let it flow, literally. I just turn on music. I listen to soca music. It's really naughty, and then I just dance, and I'm just like, I want to cook, but this kitchen, it's not the vibe. Like, I don't yell at my kids, and they're
Okay.
like, well, she, and I was like, yeah, I don't care about the she. Anybody want to eat? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. So
So let's get
which
some
she
food.
is going to get into the kitchen and, wash those pots? And while
Okay.
y'all are working on that, I'm going to go upstairs and, like get into my own vibe. And so I don't bring the armor home with me, is what I'm saying.
Mm.
It's not that serious. It's going to get done. And
Mm-hmm.
the it actually gets done faster if I don't force it.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I know I can already hear them. She crazy. Like, in my house, that would never happen. What? Yeah. But it's like I grew up with very feminine women. My
Mm-hmm.
grandmother, right, was like the way she got us to listen to her, she would whisper actually.
Mm.
She's Cherokee Indian. And you knew you were in trouble because, first of all, she'd give you the I, and then she'd be
Ah.
like, say your whole name, Cordelia Jennings Atwell, right? In a whisper. And I was like, right? So that's what I do. And that
Okay.
is that is like feminine essence at its best. And
Nice.
I don't, I usually call my daughters by this sweet name, right? But when I'm angry with them, I call their whole name,
Their full name.
and that changes life. So
Okay.
we don't have to be hard,
Mm-hmm.
is what I'm saying. And it keeps me in a very light energy. It keeps me very creative. Um, when I first got a divorce, actually, when I first got separated, is how I finished that book, Detached Love. I had been working on that book for 4 years,
Wow.
and I wrote 6 chapters in 6 weeks
Mm.
just from being separated,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? And what, in 2022, I wrote like a whole book of poetry. I still haven't published it yet because when I sent it to the publisher, they were like, "You don't have enough poems in here." I was like, "For real?" So, and
Nice.
all those poems are like, I don't know, like 3 or 4 pages each. But anyway,
Okay.
talk about creative flow and feminine energy.
Mm-hmm.
When I released the armor, right? Because to your point, when I was married, I was like that single married woman. I had to
Mm-hmm.
be strong for them. I had to be strong for him, and
Yeah.
he's bringing his stuff home from work, and I'm trying to
Yeah.
build my business, and all the things. I was homeschool. Well, I'm still homeschooling a few of my kids, but I homeschooled for 19 years when I left
Wow.
corporate America, and
Wow.
created the curriculums for each of my children according to their personalities. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm.
I'm that person.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
always in creative flow, and it would kill me if I did it the hard way.
Mm.
It would
Okay.
crush me. And I'm committed to not being crushed, and I'm committed to that
Facts.
for all of the Black women in the world. It's like I really want to serve Black women, and I feel like we misunderstand our gifts. And because we believe the lies that people tell us, we believe all the
Mm-hmm.
messages that are being pushed onto us. And if we just allow ourselves the stillness and the freeness of being in our own energy and
Yes.
understanding our own hearts, then we can have that true alignment. So I create um, four mind alignment with my
Mm,
clients, right? And
yeah.
it's the other way around: yoni, stomach, heart, and then your brain, because
Mm,
proportionately we're more body than brain.
awesome. I love that. And I think people are so attached to the misunderstanding. Um, and what popped into my head is the miseducation of Lauryn Hill. Why did that pop in my
Yes,
head, right?
yes.
But it is about us as a people. We're on a defense. And again, I'm speaking about me. I'm not talking about anybody who's watching. As for me, oftentimes we show up to the world in the defense. Like we're always playing defense. We're always trying to see what we can block. Someone says something to us, and it can be something nice, but we're sending it through a filter to see if it's really the right words, because we've been hurt so much just by society in the lifetime, in the, like you said, the lineage of time. There's been so much hurt, there's been so much destruction, so we have this wall, and how heavy is it to carry this
Hmm.
wall with you everywhere that you go, right? And to be able to finally get to the place where I'm not trying to hear you to see if I can decipher that misunderstanding. I just want to hear what you're saying. I just want it like a ease and flow. I have a book, Sophia Casey. She wrote this book entitled Ease and Flow, and it really is a simple concept, but it's going to require us to unlearn some stuff and then to relearn it in a different way. And one of the things that I want to build my platform to be in, and to my guests, they know that I'm bringing in a lot of different types of people. I don't want to have the same type of guest on here, because I want to show us a different way of
Hmm.
thinking. Maybe the way that we're thinking is like us, banging our heads up against a wall. So we need to have a different vantage, a different viewpoint, so that way we can start to see how we can truly gain that healing, because it is about that self healing. And if I'm trying to heal my body in one way, and I'm just meeting that resistance, well, then maybe I need to shift. And
Yeah,
maybe I need to see or think in a different way, that I can still find what it is that I'm looking for. And I'm going to use your title, which is that ultimate joy,
yeah,
right? We want to get to a place where we do have that ultimate joy, that ultimate healing of our mind, our bodies, and spirits. And for those of you who follow me, like, I'm on this detox journey. And it is really centered around that. It's like, okay, how do I rid myself of all of this weight,
yeah,
all of this stuff that I've carried? How do I rid myself of it? So it's a mental cleansing, it's a physical cleansing, it's a spiritual cleansing. So it's about really that disarming. And I really, really did love that word. And I do want to circle back around it, because when you have an expert here, you gotta tap into the expert. Please, Cordelia, give us tips on how we, the Black woman, on how we, that woman, whether we're single, married, in a relationship, a situationship, whatever it is, how do, give us some tips on how we can disarm her. We can
yeah.
take that off.
Well, the first thing is the words that you choose, right?
Mm,
I call it sweet talk. And so speak for your ultimate joy. If there's anything that gives you extreme displeasure, name it
mm,
differently. For example,
mm,
uh, you may have an issue with your ex, right? Or with your husband, right? Don't call him the way you see him, call him the way you want him to be,
mm.
especially when you're angry. Because when you're angry, that's when you pull stuff from the other side.
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
Yes,
So when
indeed.
you're angry, that's the time to say, you are the most loving, peaceful, compassionate partner I could ever have, and
Hmm.
mean that.
Hmm.
That's a true thing. It works.
Yeah.
The next thing I would say is sweet walk, right?
Mm.
So walk in your femininity, even when you feel like you have to be the man.
Mm.
Let that go. Dress for your sexual success, right? And whatever that is for you. Like for
Mhm.
me, I think I look sexy right now, right? You
Okay.
don't have to be naked,
True indeed.
right?
True.
But within you, like put on that song, whatever that song is for you, and just walk to the rhythm of that song
Mm.
because it's an energetic thing too, right? We've been
Yeah.
talking about that. So the healing is with words and with movement, and then connection, right? Touch yourself. Just simply the way I said before. I'm not
Mhm.
asking for you to go and do hours and hours of self pleasure, and you can self pleasure in public. Squeeze your little, um,
The
your
Kegel exercises.
no, no, no. Squeeze it. No, no. There's something better than Kegels, but that's another conversation.
For
But
another time. Yes.
for another time. But what I'm saying is like when you get frustrated, like if you squeeze your knuckles and your fingers,
Mhm.
you know this as a nurse.
Yeah.
Frustration actually is held a lot in our elbows.
Wow.
Yeah. So you squeeze your elbows, your wrist, and the knuckles and your fingers when you're frustrated, you will reconnect with yourself. And as you're doing it, I love you. I support you. You're
Mm.
amazing. I forgive you. Just say these words of whatever it is that you require in that moment.
I love
That
it.
so words, movement, connection.
To recenter yourself. I love that. And you're right. Like that is something that you can do in public. You can it's the pressure. It's
Mm-hmm.
like you said, the nervous system. It's about rebooting your nervous system. And many times we don't think about our nervous system.
Mm-mm.
It's always about, what the world has taught us. And that's what it is. There's a stigma where the world has taught us that touch is, as you say, the self-pleasure, but you can self-pleasure by doing this. And for me, what I've been more conscious about is when I apply my moisturizer in the morning.
Ooh.
For one, I don't miss it because there used to be some days I would just get up, wash the face, and go. But I am learning to be cognizant and say, girl, wait, you've got time for this. Put your moisturizer on. And that's my morning touch. I'm putting the moisturizer on my face and I'm watching my
Mm.
emotions as I am, touching my face, even when I'm putting on my body butters, right?
Mm.
I've got some really great smelling body butters and I'm cognizant of it. Where there was a time you just slap it on, gotta go. But when you recenter, when you're trying to recenter and reshift your and realign your energy, you do make time for those movements. You pay attention to those movements, and like I said, even going down to what it is you choose to wear. Could be your undergarments,
Mm-hmm.
right? Instead of wearing the mismatched stuff, you put on something that is pleasing, that is tantalizing to yourself.
Yes, and you
So
know that it's there.
yes, but the world don't know. And so it has that little air of mystery. It's like, ooh, you don't know. And that does help you to ground into your feminine energy. And then you can get to that place where you can start to heal. And like you said, you're preparing your mind, body, your spirit, you're preparing it for your next relationship, your next partner, your next connection,
Yes.
right? So that you don't take in those battle scars. And I am so pro getting rid and healing from those battle scars. And in my life, what it looks like now, those battle scars come from places of employment. Those battle scars come from relationships. Those battle scars come from, certain things that people have said and spoken to you. So we are constantly in that armor, and it is time to create a safe space so that way we can disarm. I love that. Cordelia, before I let you go, I know that you are creating a safe space. You are creating a safe space for an event, and you are inviting people to join you. Please tell us a little bit about your event.
Yeah, for your ultimate joy, it's an in person experience that I'm having here in Washington, D.C. on June 10th. And this is an opportunity where, you can show up in your best business dress attire, but then we'll have a wardrobe change. And, it's like a physical disarmoring, like taking off the
Nice.
mask
Nice.
and get into moving into your body, um, being in your senses. Will have very high quality food because your diet, your
Hmm.
food is medicine.
Yeah.
Will practice intimacy with yourself. And the intimacy is what I was just talking about because men and
Hmm.
women are invited to this event. So it's not a sex party, right? We,
And our minds are so preconditioned to that, like even my own, like, so when you say that, we put up again this defense, and it's like we don't want to hear that. We don't want to hear that.
yeah,
But it's safe. It's a
it's
safe
safe.
conversation. It is for mature audience. It is for grown-ups, but it is a safe conversation for us to have about those centers that, like I said, sometimes we don't address. So I
Yeah,
love that. So you're dealing with the stomach, with
yeah.
the food,
It's
the
with the
good diet. Yes.
all the things, right? So it's like
Nice.
I'm not a vegan, but for my in-person events, like when if you go to my week-long retreats or something like this, which is an 8-hour experience, I always make sure you have the best, high quality, locally
Nice.
sourced, all the things, vegan food, so that you can see how to use food as medicine, and so you'll be given certain types of food throughout the day in dosages.
Mm, nice. I
and
love it.
the movement will also be in dosages, and then we'll go outside and have sunlight, so you see how to live and experience life as the medicine that it is. And yeah, in for mind alignment, so we will be addressing our sacred space, because with men and women, you can't, they don't have yonis, right? It's called something different. So and so that will be the experience throughout the day.
Nice. So where can people find information about your event? How can they reach out to you? So let us know, like, if this conversation was eye opening,
Hmm.
it cracked open a little crevice in the door, and people are interested to say, I need to learn a little bit more. Tell them where they can connect with you at.
This is the greatest spot. Link tree.
Yes.
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 At the top of this, it has upcoming events. So
Okay. Nice.
whatever the event is, in this case, it is for your ultimate joy. So there's an application. I in order for the space to be safe, I have to vet who's going to be there. This is only for 15 people. And
Nice.
so the link is for an application. And once your application is approved, then you will be sent another, email with the payment link. So
Okay.
yeah, that's the
Very
process.
nice.
Hmm.
Very nice. And you are on social media.
I'm everywhere on social media, Cordelia Gaffar. Um, let's see. I don't know. I'm like, what are my favorite places to play on social media? Um, Instagram and LinkedIn right now, and my YouTube channel. Yes.
Nice, nice. And you guys need to go and check out her YouTube channel. She has her podcast, the Free to Be Show, on there. And yes, yours truly was a guest. So I
Yeah.
want you to go and take a look at that, because it is about getting to that place of freedom. And I'm telling you, you're talking my language now, because that is one of the quests. That is one of the plights that I'm on. What can I do? How can I shape and mold my lifestyle to exhibit what my definition of freedom is? So I thank you. Cordelia, do you have any last encouraging words that you would like to offer to those who are tuned in?
Yes. Your thoughts are the seeds to your growth, or the bars to your prison. So choose
Mm,
your thoughts precisely.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for being such an amazing guest. And listen, we'll definitely have to continue this conversation because I think it's so important that my audience really begin to disarm. It's
Yes,
time to. It's time. It's
it's
time
time.
for us to disarm. Yeah.
It
I
is.
love it. Thank you so much for joining us. Listen, everyone, that was such a mind shifting conversation for myself. I hope that you all have enjoyed it, and I look forward to getting those sensory stimulated, so that way I can live my best life. That I can get to that place of my ultimate joy. So again, I am Sheniqua Inspires, and I am hoping that you will have an amazingly powerful new week, right? That you have shifted into this new being and you are ready to go forth into your new self and your new week. Join us back here again for the next episode of The Black Girl. Encourage her. Until then, you all be blessed. Take care.